coming into this season, I'm going to admit, I am not the biggest baseball fan in the world, but I love it when games matter. Like the drama of Major League Baseball playoffs is some of the best in sports. There's so many storylines and all that kind of stuff. It's hard, I admit, for me as a sports fan, it's hard for me to get too invested in the regular season of baseball when there's
162?
162?
Yeah.
3,875 games. That's what it feels like. Where any game doesn't matter. Games don't matter. You get into the playoffs, though, they matter, and the drama gets pretty thick. I think it's safe to say you would have a hard time finding many more teams that had higher expectations going into this year than the LA Dodgers. They certainly bet the bank on it. They have a massive payroll. And they kind of came not hobbling into the playoffs, but certainly maybe a little bit lamed up going in. They were still supposed to beat the Padres. They went up 1-0. Then they got blown out 10-2. So then yesterday they're playing in game 3. Ryan and I decided to go to dinner after Filthy Sports yesterday. As we get into the car, we check the score. Dodgers up 1-0.
Yeah. Betts hit the home run in the first.
Oh, it started so well.
Yeah, it started so well. We got to the restaurant. We went to a barbecue place for dinner. Got to the restaurant. By the time we sat down, looked over the TV, it was 6-1.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell happened?
It was a bad second inning.
And then, like, one grand slam later.
Yeah, like 5 minutes later.
It's 6-5.
Yeah.
It was a brawl. It was a rumble in the jungle. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like by the time it got to the the third inning, I'm like, I had given up on it, and all of a sudden, like, bases loaded. Okay, well, they're gonna leave him stranded. Pop, Teoscar knocks it out. The home run derby champ knocks it out of the park, and I'm just like, okay, they're down by 1, so maybe these guys rally by the 7th or 8th. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I will say I was very proud of Buehler last night because this was one of his better showings, and he really did show up. The struggles they had in the second inning were due to the infield defensive errors. It really was not Buehler's fault, in my opinion. He did great. The team did step up by the second inning. They kind of fell asleep, but they did hold off the Padres. The Padres didn't score again after the second inning. So that gives me some hope for tonight. It's going to be a bullpen game tonight in about, 2 hours from now? Yeah. Almost exactly. If they can win tonight, they can force a Game 5 back at Dodger Stadium, and we'll see what happens. Otherwise, we'll see them in March.
Well, I mean, that brings us to the real issue here, though, right?
Yep.
The Dodgers are supposed to go deep this year. They were supposed to go deep. And it looks like everything you had all year, 162 games, Shohei doing the 50-50, all for nothing, because they're going to be out in 4 games if they lose tonight. 4 games later and everything else gets wiped out. So we've got obviously one major LA Dodgers fan in here. So I'll say it as the non-huge Dodger fan, although Ann and I have we have semi-season tickets to the Dodgers. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is nothing short of an absolute disaster if they lose this series. To do everything that they did this year, to have all the expectations, and then to the problem that I understand there are injury issues, all that kind of stuff. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to give you any sympathy when you have a payroll the size of the Dodgers. The expectations were much, much higher. And if they choke this thing, which it looks like they're positioned to do, and look, if it goes to game 5, I'm going to say this. If it goes to game 5, I think the Dodgers win at Dodger Stadium. I think the Dodgers take it. Yeah. But I have not seen a lot of consistency other than Shohei. Like even Mookie Betts has been spotty.
Yeah.
I mean,
home run yesterday was his first good hit in like 20 at bats or something, right? He didn't.
And for the postseason, his record, that was like stellar.
Yeah.
Like I think they're facing a lot of question marks, because I'll tell you right now, Jonathan, your Dodgers look a lot like my Toronto Maple Leafs. Great in the regular season.
White and blue.
There's times where you've lamented about that, and I'm like, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut because at least they get to the playoffs. Because John's going to yell at me and be like, no, they at least get to the playoffs, so I don't want to hear it. But it is very similar.
Yeah, look great in the regular season. But from your point of view, though, like seriously, I think this is a disaster. I think for a Dodgers team, you ask any Dodger fan halfway through the season, say, hey, they're going to get outed in the first round again.
Yeah.
How big of a deal is that to you?
It is a big deal. I think they really need to take this starting pitching acquisition seriously. Glasnow was great, but he had a history of injuries, and now he's out for the postseason. He was going to be a star in this thing. Then you had, okay, we're working off of Bueller, who's coming off of his surgery. They were leaning on Kirsch. Honestly,
He's too
they
old.
should have just given Kirsch his bus pass. You know, I mean, he could have gone and played for the Texas Rangers for his final year. They should have booked someone else that was like Flaherty level, but earlier in the season, maybe by mid-season. They really need to take starting pitching seriously, because the Padres did. The Padres have a solid. I mean, now they did lose Musgrove going into the NLDS, and that's bad. But when you already have 4 other guys that are solid as a rock, that just goes to show you that's where the money needs to go. So I hope next year.
But do you think if they lose, Roberts is still staying?
It's hard to say because all the injuries weren't his fault. I was like, okay, if it's NLDS and they get booted, Roberts is gone.
I think so. I think so too.
But
it's been how many years?
But
now?
with
3
all
years?
these injuries, I don't know. But they do need to mix it up. So I wouldn't be shocked if Roberts is now gone. Yeah.
All right, guys. Question is for you. How big of a deal is it if the Dodgers, with their payroll, with the regular season, with the expectations, walk in the door to the postseason party and immediately are shown their way out? I think it's pretty good. I mean, Yankees is the only other team that I think would be as big of a deal. But whatever you guys think, jump down into the comments below and let us know your thoughts.